Hey everybody, Benjamin here from Lean Strong Fitness and Wellness. Today I've got 4 fitness tips that you might not usually expect. So these have come from questions from members, but also just conversations with different people when it comes to challenges and obstacles that face you in your health. So the first one of my favorite ways to approach a fat loss goal is to actually just scrap the fat loss goal together and focus on a muscle building goal. I know it's really easy to get caught up with the numbers on the scale or fitting into a certain pair of pants or a dress. And it's really easy to obsess over like removing things. Like fat loss is like you're trying to get rid of a problem with your body. Like fat isn't a problem. We need it to be alive. And I know we all know this, as much as I'm saying it kind of sarcastically. But doing a long-term fat loss goal can be incredibly frustrating. Some of the greatest success we've seen with members when it comes to a fat loss goal is to actually focus on a muscle building goal. Because if you focus on getting stronger, you're going to need to eat lots of protein, which will help keep you full and prevent snacks and cravings. You're going to need to eat lots of vegetables so you can stay healthy. You're going to need to sleep a lot. You're going to need to be proactive. And guess what? All of those things are things that you're going to end up benefiting from when it comes to fat loss and body composition. Because even if the numbers on the scale don't change, the shape and size of your body drastically will. So if you've been struggling with fat loss, try setting a muscle building and strength goal. The second tip I really like is helping people establish what are their non-negotiables. And when it comes to fitness, I'm not typically a huge fan of let's put these rules in place. Like I only have cheat days on Sundays and I can't do this before that. I think that's kind of it's not really a healthy way of thinking and makes us basically set ourselves up for failure and then beat ourselves up about that failure. But I do love the idea of non-negotiables, and it's about getting clear with yourself. What are the things that you absolutely will not skip out on? So a couple examples. One that I really like is don't skip 2 workouts in a row. Life's going to come up. It's going to throw you a curveball. You're going to miss a workout. You're going to go on vacation and not want to work out, or the gym is junk. But if you have a rule or a non-negotiable around don't skip 2 workouts in a row, it means you never feel like you're getting off track. Because if you miss one, you're damn sure you're going to get that second one in. Another non-negotiable I really like that's worked well for lots of clients is to do something active every single day. That could be strength training. It could be going for a walk. It could be going for a bike ride. It could be going for a swim. But this can be a good example of every single day you do have to do something. And another one that I really, really like that's super effective if you're someone like me who I love snacking. God, I love snacking, especially chips. I like sweet and salty, but back to the actual point. If you struggle with snacking, a really good non-negotiable is if you're going to have junk food, make sure those junk food items are 10 out of 10 for you. And that's 10 out of 10 from an enjoyment perspective. So for me, I really love Miss Vickie's salt and vinegar chips. My mom also makes an incredibly good strawberry rhubarb pie that is just the best friggin' thing I've ever eaten. You've probably got your own things as I'm saying this of these are the things that you really, really love. So don't have the mediocre Easter candy that's probably sitting on your counter right now like it is like mine. Have the ones that to you are this is the best thing ever. Because there's something about snacking that you want some sort of satisfaction from. So don't settle for less than the best when it comes to your preferences. The third tip I've got for you today is a really simple one that you've probably seen more and more, but it cannot be said enough. That is just simply walk more. We often think that fitness has to be this complicated, sophisticated plan, and more often than not, the people who have the most success with fitness do the most boring, consistent basics on a regular basis. So we've all heard the number, you need to walk 10,000 steps per day. That doesn't actually seem to be backed up by any science. It's just really good marketing, similar to breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I think that was a Kellogg's ad from the 50s or 60s. Point being, despite 10,000 steps a day not actually being a magic number where anything drastically changes, the intention of walking more can be a massive, massive benefit. So for what I've seen, you really start to get the most benefits around 7,500 steps per day. So you don't really have to hit 10,000 a day. And the adverse health effects seem to kick in once you're below 3,000 or 4,000 steps a day. And then anything above 10,000 steps is kind of just bonus. It's it's good to be outside, it's good to be active, but it's not, there's that threshold in there where if you get between 3,000 and 4,000 up to 7,500 steps a day, your health will drastically improve. It's also one of the easiest and most accessible ways to improve your cardio. If you're doing lots of walking, especially if you're doing hikes or varied terrain, like everything just gets better. It helps with digestion. It helps with clarity of mind. It helps reduce stress. I was talking with a member this morning about just like being outside and going for a walk with your dog. I think the Japanese refer to it as forest bathing, and you're like soaking in the energies. And I know I can attest that if I go for a walk, even on a mediocre day, I almost always feel better. Plus, there's a ton of physical and mental health benefits. And the fourth tip I've got for you today is a little bit of a weird one, but I think there's a lot of value in this. So one of the obstacles we typically hear is, it's just not the right time for me to get started on fitness, or this other thing came up, or, I'm going to wait until once I get X, then I'll start my fitness plan or my exercise plan. And I totally get where that's coming from. It's really easy to feel overwhelmed, especially in today's world. We have so many inputs that we just can't manage everything that happens. Like, if we did everything everybody asked of us, we would never do anything that we wanted to do, let alone get all of those asks done. So when it comes to starting an exercise plan or a fitness plan, or even continuing one if you're feeling like you're in a rut, my best advice is actually to start the plan when it doesn't seem like it's going to fit. If you can start when life is challenging and throwing you curveballs, you're actually going to be way better equipped to handle curveballs in the future. Because if you only start when everything's easy and you've got lots of time and you've got lots of open white space in your calendar where you can book things, that makes sense because it'll be much easier to fit it in. But then as soon as life throws you a curveball, you're not going to know what to do with it. It's going to throw you off track so easy. It's the equivalent of being like something super fragile. It's just really hard to stay in routine or to not have any cracks. But if you can start when life is chaotic and shit's kind of crazy and it feels like you're not going to be able to get it in, you are now building resiliency and building habits at a point where it is its hardest. You're going to know what that feels like. You're going to learn how to manage it. It's like if you've never learned how to deal with conflict and then conflict comes up, it's like a huge emergency. But if you've always been dealing with a little bit of conflict, it's just another thing. It doesn't even make the radar in terms of something you can stress. So I know that's kind of a bit of an unconventional one, and this isn't like a thinly veiled, everyone should sign up at our gym, not at all. It's really the idea that most people's fitness problem is really a time problem, which is really a priorities problem. So if you can start when it doesn't seem like health and fitness can even be a priority, it makes it so easy to keep it one when things get hard. Because as we know, there's never a right time. There's always another curveball. There's always going to be another emergency. But if you can stay consistent when it's chaotic, it actually will only get easier from there versus starting when it's easy and always feeling like you're climbing a mountain. And let's be honest, it's just so much easier to gain momentum when you feel like you're going downhill. So thank you. Hope those were good. Talk to you soon.